Weather coverage you can count on.
The stars will come out all summer at the Fraze Pavilion in Kettering. It announced its 1997 summer season today. The pavilion's general manager calls the schedule of shows the Sounds of Summer, featuring John Tesh, Mary Chapin Carpenter, James Taylor, and others. Tickets go on sale April 12th at 10 a.m. right at the box office. And more stories are unfolding at this hour. NewsCenter 7 crews are there.
He was indicted in the brutal murders of 3 people in Clark County. Today we know more about William Sapp. New information coming up in a live report. The debate over internet porn heats up today in Washington. We'll go live for the latest developments.
And is it a speed trap or just a coincidence? Find out what's behind a bizarre stretch of road in Montgomery County, new at 5:30.
You're watching WHIO TV Channel 7 with live, local, late-breaking coverage you can count on. This is NewsCenter 7 at 5:30.
Good afternoon. New information on the plane crash we first reported at 5. Investigators on the scene now confirm 2 people are dead. This is exclusive video from News Chopper 7 of the scene of the crash. Now, the plane crashed into a house near Rocky Fork Lake. That's in Highland County, and that's about 65 miles southeast from here. NewsCenter 7 has learned an adult and a child were aboard the plane when it went down. They were killed. The crash started a fire that destroyed a house. News Chopper 7 is on the scene, and we'll have another report live exclusively at 6 on NewsCenter 7.
And now to our top story at 5:30. New information today on the man charged with several murders in Springfield. NewsCenter 7's Steve Litz spent the day finding out more about William Sapp. Steve joins us live from Springfield with more of the man some say could be a serial killer. Steve?
Donna, we told you yesterday how the Clark County grand jury returned a 27-count indictment against William Sapp, and now detectives and prosecutors say he is the prime suspect, the principal offender in the deaths of Martha Leach and Free Morrow, and detectives also say he is behind the murder of 31-year-old Belinda Anderson. Well, today we talked with one woman who knows William Sapp, and in addition to that, we also found out a little more about his background. 35-year-old William Sapp grew up in Florida. Court records show he lived in Springfield during his teenage years, went back to Florida in 1981, and then returned to Springfield in the early 90s. His last known address here was this home in the Limecrest neighborhood on Springfield's south side.
I got nothing to lose with this. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got nothing to lose. That's right. I lost everything.
Back in September of last year, Bill Sapp was convicted of stabbing and trying to rape a Springfield woman. He was found guilty, then sentenced to 15 to 55 years in prison.
Our kids played with his kids.
Today we talked with a woman who lived in the same neighborhood as Sapp. She doesn't want her face to be on TV.
He was just a nice guy. He'd do anything to help anybody out. Never knew the bad side of him, you know. I had no idea he was like this.
She also says she's learned a very valuable lesson from living near the man accused of several Springfield murders.
Well, it just shows that you're not safe really anywhere. You gotta really look at who you associate with.
William Sapp is also charged with 2 counts of arson. That's in connection to several fires here in Clark County. Right now, Donna, he's being held in the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility down in Lucasville.
Steve, I know you've talked with William Sapp.
Yeah.
Did he ever mention anything about these other crimes?
No, he did not. We talked with him after that September conviction that you heard about over there. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we will hear more from that interview that we conducted back in September. And also, we will have an interview with detectives from Jacksonville, Florida, who say that William Sapp is behind a murder in their part of the country. All that coming up on NewsCenter 7 starting at 6.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear that. Okay, Steve. More details now on our top story at 5:30. William Sapp is expected back in Clark County for his arraignment. No word yet on when that will happen. A Clark County judge is currently looking for a public defender to represent Sapp. We'll have much more on William Sapp and his life of crime coming up on NewsCenter 7 at 6.
New information now about several unsolved murders in the northern Miami Valley. Today, investigators voiced frustrations in efforts to solve those cases. NewsCenter 7's Steve Baker is live in our Northern Bureau with the latest. And Steve, what's going on with this?
Well, Sean, in Greenville, it's a double homicide that remains unsolved, and in Auglaize County, authorities are still looking for the person or persons responsible for the murder of a St. Mary's High School freshman back in November. The duplex of Dennis Young of North Chippewa Drive in Greenville has been released by police. The family of Mr. Young has already removed his personal belongings from inside, and the dwelling has been cleaned and available for occupancy. Now it's time for the neighborhood to put the events of the last weekend of February behind them. But for Greenville police, arresting the person or persons responsible for the murder of 55-year-old Dennis Young and 38-year-old Kimberly Steffen inside Young's home sometime in the early morning hours of February 23rd is still top priority.
We have a lot of evidence that, like I said, has been submitted to both the Dayton crime lab and the FBI, and we're awaiting results from both of them, but we're optimistic.
6 weeks waiting for results. Is that pretty reasonable?
I think so, because we submitted a great deal of evidence to be submitted. We pretty much left no stone unturned.
Greenville police are still in search of the gun used to kill Young and Steffen. And while they do have a prime suspect, so far no one has been charged. Now in Auglaize County, they don't have a suspect in the murder of 15-year-old Amber Nicole Williams of St. Mary's. She was last seen alive on November 14th. 2 weeks later, her body was found in a remote wooded area about 5 miles northwest of St. Mary's.
Investigation is kind of bogged down. There's not a lot of new information coming forth, so not really at a standstill, but certainly not progressing very fast.
But still under investigation?
Definitely under investigation by 2 detectives. We're going to have VICAP, criminal profiling, come in to give us a little hand on this, see if that doesn't help us somewhat.
In both murder investigations, that's in Greenville and Auglaize County, authorities again plead to the public. If you have any information or knowledge of these unrelated unsolved homicides, you're asked to call either the Greenville Police Department or the Auglaize County Sheriff's Department in Wapakoneta. Reporting live from our Northern Bureau, Steve Baker, News Center 7.
Police are still looking for a suspect who just walked out of a courtroom. We're covering the Miami Valley at 5:30, starting in Clark County. 21-year-old Darnell Arnold was about to stand trial last week on a charge of carrying a concealed weapon. After he was denied a request for a new lawyer, he asked to use the telephone. And that's the last time anybody saw him. Paramedics in Greene County find a new way to help injured young children. They're called pity bags. They contain medical supplies to be used by paramedics to treat critically ill youngsters. The bags are being given to every paramedic unit in the county by Children's Medical Center and Greene Memorial Hospital. Investigators believe an accident with a kerosene heater may be to blame for a house fire in Clark County. It happened last night at a home on Fairfield Pike. Several fire departments were called in to douse the flames. No injuries were reported.
A Fairborn man accused of downloading child pornography off the internet appears in court today. 46-year-old Ken Hall pleaded not guilty to 30 counts of violating child pornography laws this morning. Police say the former LexisNexis employee was fired after the company discovered the apparent problem. Miami Township detectives say they found computers and more than 200 discs inside Hall's home. So what should be done about the seedy side of the internet? Senators heard today from a woman whose son was brutalized twice, once by a teacher, then again on the internet. NewsCenter 7's Allison Schaefer is live in Washington with more on efforts to get child porn offline. Allison.
Hey, Sean. Diane Doe says her 16-year-old son is terrified that his friends will find out what happened to him because the graphic pictures may turn up on the internet.
That my son had been sexually molested many times over the past year.
Diane Doe's, she wants to remain anonymous, 16-year-old son was sexually molested 5 years ago. And to add to the injury, scenes of what happened to him showed up here on the internet.
Due to the pervasive reach of the internet, the fear of these pictures and his identity being brought out around the world at any time, whether next week or 10 years from now, is overwhelming to my son.
Cyberspace has become a haven for child pornographers. This picture supposedly shows a 4-year-old blonde named Lolita. Child porn is booming on the net because of crackdowns elsewhere.
Child pornography is largely gone from the shelves of adult bookstores. And through the crackdown of the Postal Inspection Service, child pornography through the mails is far less a problem than it was earlier.
Pictures and messages like these are not protected under free speech, and many people think they should be banned.
When a person applies for internet, they should be screened as the same as if they're going to buy a gun.
The government's got to take some actions to make sure that children are protected, but at the same time, we have to make sure we don't violate anybody's First Amendment rights.
But most of what's on the internet is good for kids, including this. At least one kid was returned to his family after he was spotted on a missing child webpage. And some advice from the FBI. Don't let your kids hand out their names or addresses to anybody on the net. touch in with them periodically to see who they're talking to in cyberspace. And remember, people and things on the net are not necessarily always what they seem. Sean?
Allison, we're identifying this scary problem, so are ideas being passed around now on how to combat this?
Yeah, more money. The FBI is asking for more money, and they also say state and local police probably need more money. But up here, budget-cutting fever's going on. It's anybody's guess as to whether or not they'll get more.
Okay. Allison in Washington, thanks.
Incidents of alleged police brutality are caught on tape, and now the people in that country finally get to see the violence for themselves. We're covering the world later at 5:30.
The speed limit changes several times on one New Lebanon road. Is this a speed trap? A live report next at 5:30.
I'm meteorologist Dave Harmon. When the sky clouds over, the temperatures drop, and the wind picks up, you know something's going on. We'll talk about it. What's going on at Van Buren Middle School in Kettering is a north wind at 18 miles per hour with a temperature of 41. I can tell you wind chills around the valley are in the 20s. We'll talk about that in a minute.
First news at 10 on the Miami Valley Channel, your only live primetime local newscast. Get complete coverage of local, national, international, and late-breaking news. Your first look at tomorrow's weather forecast with Heidi Sonnen. Plus sports, all in 30 minutes, all at a time convenient to you.
I'm Sean Lay. Join me for a complete up-to-the-minute look at all of today's news and weather on NBC's First News at 10. Weeknights on NBC Cable 44.
McNulty RV is shattering the price barriers. Choose from our huge inventory for incredible savings on the RV of your dreams. At McNulty RV, we've got fifth wheel starting at $10,900 and a huge selection of travel trailers from $8,900. Class A and C motorhomes starting from $31,900. We're overstocked with pop-ups, so we'll accept any reasonable offer. Ohio's largest RV dealer always sells for less, guaranteed. Call toll-free 1-888-McNulty.
While Abner Doubleday may be the father of baseball, his game was far from perfect. The players did their own officiating, the grounds crew didn't cooperate, and the signs were less than discreet. In honor of Doubleday's effort, McDonald's announces double deals. Come in now and get 2 double cheeseburgers for $2 or 2 triple cheeseburgers for $3. Even better with a Coke and fries. For these deals, doubling up makes sense, more than it did to Abner.
At DP&L, we know every home is different. So we created DP&L's new Personal Energy Program. With the Personal Energy Program, you choose areas that could benefit from a home energy checkup. Then we'll give you a customized inspection and recommend different ways to save. Just call 1-800-WAY-TO-GO to learn more. It's the way to go, personally. And it's perfect for any home.
Just how mean are the streets where you live? A pair of public interest groups issued a report on the dangers of walking today. They say that nationwide, 6,100 pedestrians are struck and killed each year on America's streets. In the state of Ohio, Dayton ranks number 15.
A speed limit change is creating traffic headaches for many in New Lebanon. Some are calling it a speed trap, but village leaders say the state transportation department really gave them little choice. NewsCenter 7's Tony Berlin is live in New Lebanon with more on this controversy over what some are calling a speed trap. What's going on, Tony?
That's right, Sean. Good afternoon. Well, it's one town, but they've got 3 speed limits. Take a look. When you enter New Lebanon, you see 45 miles per hour. But prepare to slow down. There are several more changes before you leave town.
And up to 45, then it goes to 35, then it goes to 25, then it goes to 45 again, then 35.
Plenty of confusion over speed limits. 45 to 35 to 25. It's hard to keep track in New Lebanon. Some say it's unfair.
In my opinion, they're trying to trick people by establishing speed traps.
Not so, say village leaders. Even though U.S. Route 35 is the main way through town, it's not a trick. Is this a speed trap?
Certainly not. In fact, in the last month in New Lebanon, we've only issued one speeding ticket, and that was in one of the plats.
Instead, they say state transportation officials required them to make the switch because they were in violation.
In fact, if you had received a speeding ticket under the old system, I think you could have successfully challenged it because it wasn't posted properly. Now we comply with the state statute, and we're moving forward in partnership with ODOT.
Not everyone is upset. Tiffany Rourke says too many people speed through town. It's a question of safety.
I mean, if it's going to help, you know, keep people safe, and I think it's a good thing. Safety's everything, and I don't think people should get killed just because people don't want to slow down or speed up.
So for now, police say since this is so new, they're going to be giving out warnings unless you're really pushing the envelope for speed here in New Lebanon, and that's until everyone really gets up to speed. Tony Berlin reporting live in New Lebanon for NewsCenter 7.
Well, we are warned. Thank you, Tony. And Dave Harmon joins us now with a look at today's weather.
Yes. Well, we don't have a speed trap, but we're sort of a cold air trap right around here. And it is coming in fast. So get ready for it. We've got cold air, and in fact, there are some freeze advisories in parts of both Kentucky and Indiana. But around here, look at the temperature difference between Louisville, 63 right now, and way up in Chicago, 28. And then it's kind of a smooth gradient as you go up. 37 in Indianapolis, 56 in Cincinnati, 43 here in Dayton, but 29. And this air up here, this real cold air, is coming in toward us. So get ready for a real chill down. Daymed Weather Vision 7 temperatures of 5:30, 31 in Salina. So they're below freezing. Everybody else is not yet, but will be. 35 in Greenville and in Sydney. Troy's got 38 degrees, 45 for Fairborn. And then Eaton's got 42 degrees, all the way up to 49 for Waynesville and Middletown. Miamisburg 46 and Xenia 47. Okay, our relative humidity is at 51%. Our wind is out of the northwest at the airport at 22 miles per hour, 30.15 inches of mercury. That's rising. Pollution Standards Index, ozone's at 41, and that's in the good category. The wind is making the wind chills down to into the 20s right now. And this is a great picture. We've got clouds almost all over Ohio at this point. There's snow in Youngstown and in Cleveland. There's also been some snow around Toledo. And down here to our southwest, there's also some snow. We're in the middle. We're not going to get any of this. They will part. There's a couple of different systems, and the stuff to the north will stay to the north and the east. Stuff to the west will stay down there to the west. Kansas is expected to get about an inch of snow in parts of that state tonight, but we're not going to see any of that. We will start to clear up. So tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy with a very cold low, down near record lows tonight, 22 in Dayton. 38 is as much as we'll muster for tomorrow. Will become partly sunny in the afternoon, and your day planner showing a nice cloudy sky for the morning hours and 25 by 9 a.m. Then by noon, we finally creep up to freezing. It is going to be a cold one. And then by 3 p.m., finally up to our high temperature, which is only going to get up to about 38 degrees. And then for the 5-day forecast, we've got April showers on deck. But the good part is it's going to get a little bit warmer. Wow. Not a whole lot, but a little bit warmer.
38 for high?
22. Our record low for tonight is 20 degrees.
Wow.
We're going to get close to that tonight.
Okay. Dave, thanks.
All right.
Now, tornadoes are caught on tape quite often, but not in the country where this twister struck. We're covering the world later at 5:30.
And who isn't looking for a break during tax season? Well, we may have a few more for you next in Consumer Alert.
New chicken wraps with crispy white meat chicken, rice, lettuce, tomatoes, and topped with your choice of 5 amazing sauces. Only at Long John Silver's. Hey, this could be the start of a wonderful relationship.
So I get this mail from Progressive saying they have a smart new way to shop for auto insurance.
Progressive, can I help you?
They give you their rates plus the rates of several other companies. I wonder whose rates are going to be lowest.
It looks like you could save over $200 if you went with...
What? You're an insurance company?
Hey, we know how hard it is to shop for auto insurance. A lot of times we're the lowest. Sometimes we're not.
That's not what I expected from an insurance company. And then he said, well, maybe you should.
Call 1-800-AUTO-PRO or your authorized independent agent.
This car's been around for 30 years. Plan to keep yours a while? If your new or used car is rust protected by Z-Mart, it's protected for as long as you own it. Guaranteed. Despite manufacturing improvements, cars still rust. So you can go to Z-Mart or store your car in a cave.
Save $55 on Z-Mart Super Rust Protection, only $299.95.
For over 35 years, Z-Mart. Survival gear for cars.
The night janitor at 104.7 WTUE eyes the microphone. A fantasy forms.
It's the Kerrigan and Christopher Morning Show.
You don't mind riding with a guy in his underwear and being escorted by police, do you?
Not at all.
Dayton's best rock.
TUE rules. Ha ha!
Dave, now let's move on to the world of Mr. and Mrs. Consumer.
It's almost lunchtime.
Yes. As you can see, this pie chart illustrates...
When you have a craving for a delicious bacon mushroom melt, come to Wendy's. It's a quarter pound of fresh beef, 3 strips of bacon, and mushrooms in a cheddar cheese sauce.
So what do you think, Dave?
I'm satisfied.
Great.
Wendy's bacon mushroom melt. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one. Now, biggie size any Wendy's combo with great biggie fries and a biggie drink for just 39 cents.
Ohio Senator John Glenn is sponsoring a bill to impose criminal penalties on IRS workers who snoop into taxpayers' records. A report in the Wall Street Journal showed more than 700 IRS agents have been reprimanded for looking at people's tax files in the last 2 years. Right now, it's illegal to do that, but there's no criminal penalty. Congress may soon change that. House Speaker Newt Gingrich had strong words about the allegations against the IRS.
That destroys the concept of a voluntary tax system. It is an abuse of power, and it is intolerable.
Well, the IRS says it has beefed up its security and punishment for browsing, but the General Accounting Office says those efforts are insufficient.
A famous man once said the hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. That man was Albert Einstein. So if that genius had problems with his 1040, where does that leave the rest of us? NewsCenter 7 consumer reporter Paul Hertner has some advice.
The sounds of the season, tax season. And unless you know you're going to get a refund, you don't like doing your taxes. But there are ways to lower your burden. For people with kids, for example, remember to use the tax credit for daycare if you're eligible. Depending upon how much you make, it can mean a big break on the bottom line.
The maximum credit could be $480 for one child, up to $960 for more than one child. It's not a refundable credit in that if your taxes were only $800, you would not be entitled to a check back.
And if your kids are out of the house or are older than 13, IRA spells savings.
Well, what if April 15th just sneaks up on you and you need more time to get your return in the mail? Well, if you're owed a refund, no problem. The only penalty is you won't get your check until you get the forms in. But if you owe Uncle Sam, he's a lot less forgiving.
Do your best to approximate what you owe, and if you have a remaining liability, you can make a payment to the IRS by April 15th and then file your return later.
In Dayton, Paul Hertner for 7's Consumer Alert.
And yet another tax expert has some advice. If you owe the IRS, send something along with a letter explaining your circumstance. In many cases, the IRS will work out a payment schedule just like a creditor.
Also in Consumer Alert News at 5:30, Chrysler says the fourth door is now free. The automaker announced that people who buy minivans will be able to get the driver's side sliding door at no extra charges. That affects the Caravan, Voyager, and Town & Country models. The incentive program runs through early July.
NewsCenter 7 crews are working on still more stories at this hour. Stories you'll see new at 6. NewsCenter 7 Cheryl McHenry is live in the newsroom with a look at some of them. Cheryl?
Donna, new at 6, dramatic courtroom testimony. A girl has to testify against her own mother. The same mother police say tried to kill her daughter. We'll take you inside the courtroom, new at 6. A community is fighting back against drugs. 3 weeks after police raid a Riverside home for drugs, neighbors call police back for another bust. New at 6 will have the latest on a community that refuses to ignore what's going on in their backyards. And this man is now indicted in 3 Miami Valley murders, and police say he has confessed to another murder in Florida. New at 6, police in Florida respond to the confession and what they're going to do with the information. I'm Cheryl McHenry in the newsroom. We'll see you at 6.
Deadly flames strike a high-rise apartment, and children are among the people killed in the blaze. We're covering world news next at 5:30.
Brenda Andre lives in one of the coldest places in Canada. Hey, Brenda,
How do you like your sandwich?
Hot.
Perkins introduces the new Dill Melts, a new bread made with natural dill seed. Try the chicken tender melt, the deli melt, or the Butterball Turkey Club Melt. Perkins' new Dill Melt sandwiches, hot and delicious.
Perkins, we make it special for you.
Did you know Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana, sells more motorhomes, diesel pushers, travel trailers, fifth wheels, tent campers than any RV dealer in the entire Midwest? Why do thousands and thousands buy from Tom Raper? Best brand names, best selection, best deals. 33 years in business. Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana wants you to be a customer for life. Truck campers, truck caps, cargo trailers, mobile, sectional, modular homes.
Save today, Tom Raper's way.
Call 1-800-RAPER-RV. Open evenings, closed Sunday.
Ready to do something about your hearing loss? My Beltone Visa, the hidden hearing aid, has something new, the Comfort Circuit.
Here's how it works. Our Comfort Circuit automatically adjusts to help keep loud sounds comfortable and to make soft sounds easier to hear.
I hear great, and it's still as small around as my contact lens.
Call for more information or a free hearing test with one of our licensed hearing aid specialists or audiologists.
This is the new TV Guide. The big picture on the small screen, your favorite shows, interviews with the stars, plus cheers and jeers, family pages, sports view, and movie reviews by Gene Siskel. So keep up with what's on. Get inside TV Guide.
The folks at KFC, inspired by the mighty buffalo wing, have taken it one step further and gotten rid of the wing. Behold the mighty buffalo crispy strip, new from KFC. Boneless, all-white meat chicken, marinated in those classic buffalo spices. Proof that you don't need wings to have a meal that'll fly.
Everybody needs a little KFC.
Now try 3 new buffalo crispy strips with ranch dressing, 2 sides, and a biscuit, just $2.99.
People in Brazil get an opportunity to see what appears to be police brutality in their country.
That's right. We're covering the world at 5:30. Starting in Brazil, this amateur video shows military policemen beating up a group of men lined up against the wall in Rio de Janeiro. This new video was shown on Brazilian TV Monday. 9 of the 10 officers believed to be involved in the beatings have been charged. The 10th officer agreed to testify against the others. Yokohama, Japan is hit with severe weather, and take a look at this tornado caught on tape. The twister left behind a lot of damage. On top of that, many areas experienced flooding and marble-sized hail during the storm. 20 injuries were reported. Fire races through a high-rise apartment in Hong Kong, leaving 7 people dead. The fire broke out on the 6th floor of the 18-story building. 2 children were among the victims. 28 people were hurt. The cause of the fire is unknown.
New violence breaks out today in the West Bank as another Palestinian is shot and killed. An Israeli religious student from Hebron's Jewish enclave opened fire in the city's main market, killing the man. Israeli soldiers arrested the suspect. A supply ship is expected to dock today with the troubled Russian space station Mir. The cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut rely on backup oxygen systems right now. Ground controllers say the people on board, though, are not in any danger. Stay tuned. NewsCenter 7 at 6 is next.
Watch for more on breaking news of a fatal plane crash in Highland County. A live report just ahead.